One more week before the legislature goes on summer recess. Let's get caught up on how they've been staying busy. Also, isn't it time for some of that Weisenberg wisdom? I think so. This is Todd Book with On the Books. Hello, friends. The State House is abuzz with activity as members try to finish up their legislative priorities before the summer recess. The bill that continues to dominate discussion is Senate Bill 310. As you may remember, that bill establishes a freeze on alternative energy generation standards in Ohio. It also creates a study committee to determine whether those standards should be modified. The bill has received national attention, with opponents claiming that it will push Ohio back to a Rust Belt status and may even violate the civil rights of its citizens, while the proponents of the bill claim that the current standards are unrealistic and are far too costly for ratepayers. The bill passed out of the House this week over strong opposition and appears to be on its way to the governor's desk. Many eyes across the country are watching how the governor will respond, as it will determine the future of alternative energy generation in Ohio and maybe in the nation. Bill Weisenberg is wise because he never stops learning. In this installment of Wisdom from Weisenberg, Bill reviews a book that we should all be aware of.
I'd like to talk with you for a few moments today about a book I just finished reading, which I think you might find rather interesting. This is a book by retired Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens, entitled Six Amendments, How and Why We Should Change the Constitution. Justice Stevens, as we all know, served for many years on the Supreme Court of the United States, and over a period of time wrote some very intriguing opinions. What he's written about in this book is some suggestions he has on how the United States Constitution could be amended or should be amended to reflect changes in how the law has evolved over the years. For instance, the whole issue of redistricting, or what he calls gerrymandering. He has some thoughts on how the Constitution might be amended to address that subject. As we all know, he changed his opinion over many years on the issue of the death penalty, which he now opposes, and he has some suggestions on how the Constitution should be amended to address that issue. Campaign finance. We know Justice Stevens was very outspoken in the Citizens United case and other cases dealing with campaign finance, and he feels the system is hurting right now and it needs some correction. And he has some thoughts and observations in light of Citizens United and other cases on how campaign finance might be addressed in the Constitution. Finally, among other things, is the issue of the Second Amendment. And we know the controversy over the Second Amendment, especially the Heller case out of the District of Columbia and handguns. And Justice Stevens offers some insights and suggestions on how the Second Amendment might be addressed without intruding upon the rights of our citizens to bear arms, but seeking to give some guidance on how gun control or gun violence could be addressed in this country, and how the Second Amendment might be addressed to respond to that issue. It's a very quick read. It's under 200 pages, very well written by Justice Stevens, with a lot of citations to cases that he decided or have been decided over the years. And for those of you interested in constitutional law and issues dealing with campaign finance, the death penalty, the Second Amendment, sovereign immunity, I think it's a good read for you, one that would be both informative, entertaining, and give some food for thought, and give you an opportunity then to discuss this with your colleagues. If you'd like to talk with it further with me, give me a call sometime. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill, for that insightful analysis. That's the word on the square. This is Todd Book with On the Books. We'll see you next week, because he never stops learning. In this episode of